Echo Rex Malcolm 97 here today, and today I'm going to show you how to make this first order banner inspired by Star Wars The Force Awakens.
The things you'll need for this project are a ruler, 2 paper plates, a bowl, red paint, black paint, a paintbrush, scissors, fabric, and water, and a Sharpie. So first you're going to make a template of a quarter of the first order logo out of a paper plate. So you're going to draw it out, then you're going to cut it out. It should look something like that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your template from earlier, you're going to take your fabric and your scissors and your ruler and a Sharpie. So what you're going to do is measure it out on the lines I have on the ruler, which is about, so the banner is about like 3 feet total, and you're going to want to do it by like 8.5 inches long, and you should get a strip like that. Then taking your ruler, you're going to make a mark halfway into the thing and about 4.5 inches down, and that's going to be the top of your little logo for the circle part. So then you're going to trace that template once, then you're going to trace it again, then you're going to trace it a third time, and then a fourth, and that is what it should be looking like after that. Then you're going to make a dot about that far up and down on both sides, and then you can use your ruler to make lines like that, like a hexagon. And then you're going to want to do a border around that hexagon. Now what you're going to do is grab your black paint, your paintbrush, and you're going to paint it black just like that. Next thing you're going to do is take your red paint, a paintbrush, the bowl, and your water from earlier, and we're going to make a dye so we can dye the banner red. So first you're going to want to squirt a decent amount of acrylic paint into your bowl. Then the next step is going to be to grab your water and pour water in there. Now I've already poured the water in mine off camera, but you're going to mix together the paint and the water until it looks thoroughly blended. And then once you've dabbed, and then you're going to take your banner, it should look something like this. Dabbing it on there. So then our next step is going to be to trim off the bottom edges. And if you want, in black lettering, you can paint on the Arbesh language. I wrote First Order in Arbesh, which is the language used in Star Wars, and that's how that looks. So then, what you're going to want to do after that is take some of your black paint, put it in the bowl from earlier, which does need to be washed out because you don't want your black paint and your red paint mixing together. So then what you're going to do with that is, just like earlier when you were making the red dye, you're going to make black dye now. So what you're going to want to do is pour in a good amount of water again. So for the first coat, I'm making sure it's a little more watered down than the second because we don't want it to show up as much as we do the second. So then you're going to mix that together with your paintbrush. And you're just going to want to go around the edges for now, just like that, and make sure you don't go too hardcore on the black paint. But it'll make kind of a nice grayish, burnt kind of look on the edging to make it look a little bit older. So you're just going to go along the edges with that. Then you're going to mix regular red together after you've done the edging step, and then you're going to mix a red wine color together, and you're going to mix that with your water again, and it'll kind of make like a cranberry-ish color, and then you need to start dabbing that on because
your red might not be the like darkest color of red how you need it to be. I made mine like, see, mine turned out kind of pink, but after I gave it that coat of like our red wine and wine mixture, like our red wine paint color and regular red mixture, it looks a bit better. And there's how your edging is going to look from earlier. And it looks a lot nicer now that it's got that kind of wineish red, more faded kind of red look to it rather than like a kind of pinkish color. So then what you're going to want to do is go over the edges with more black. And this time you're going to want black and brown and go around the edging more. And then you're just going to want to start flinging little like brown paint, like watered down brown paint. You're just going to want to fling it all over to make it look even older. Kind of weathering process, you know. And then it's going to look like that once it dries. You got all the words right there. And we got everything done now. Almost. So your next step is going to be taking a wooden dowel. Doesn't matter what size. Where that black line is where you're going to cut it off. So then once you've cut it off, you're going to want to sand down the edges to where they're rounded off. And this is what your banner is going to be looking like. And you're going to have to hot glue the top with like kind of like, you're going to want to glue it to where there's a spot where you can slide in the wooden dowel. So kind of glue it off like an O, you know. So you just got to fold it back and glue just like that, and it'll look like that. Then you want to paint your wooden dowel black. Then you're going to tie one string around the end, and then you're going to take that string and you're going to tie it around the other end so you'll be able to hang it up. And here's what your final product will look like. You got the nice airbrush lettering. The red turned out relatively nice. You kind of got some splatter to make it look old. The edges are a little blackened. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Echo Rex Malcolm 97 out.